Finally, The Rock has come back to wrestling, and finally, we are getting some side-by-side comparisons between the Attitude Era and the Entertainment Era, between greatness and foolishness, between how to respond like a man and how to respond like a chump. The Rock returns to Raw and immediately represents, saying what so many of us have been feeling for such a long time. His two main points on Cena? You can't see me and those bright-ass shirts, or as The Rock puts it, peekaboo and fruity pebbles. What the hell is all that about? Finally, Cena is confronted about this crap. Finally, we're gonna get some answers, right? Cena says he's gonna respond. Great, we're gonna get some damn answers. He comes to the ring, grabs the mic, and starts talking about movies. What the fuck? Where did that come from? Something about Brokeback Mountain and a whole bunch of BS about polishing balls or whatever? What the hell? Then he goes on this generic stuff about he's there for the fans. Like, what is this? What's going on? I thought Cena was going to respond to The Rock. Where's the response? The Rock then responds, and unlike Cena, he directly answers Cena with a true response based on what Cena said. He talks about why he left, why he called out Cena, and questions why Cena would rap to him. In other words, he responds to Cena. You get that, Cena lovers? Did The Rock go off changing the subject, talking about music or Cena's album or whatever? No, he answers the damn question like a man. Cena then, quote-unquote, responds and starts talking about satellites. What the hell? Where did that come from? He talks about The Rock appearing through satellite, even though Cena himself has appeared through satellite. How can people cheer for this rapping fool? Imagine if someone criticized my vids. Imagine if he's like, PS Power, your videos suck because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, imagine if I say I'm going to respond, but when I actually do, I start talking about movies and Brokeback Mountain and generic stuff about how I'm there for my viewers. If I responded like that, what would you think of me? Exactly. And there's another comparison right there between the no-nonsense approach of the Attitude Era and the diddle-dallying, purple-rapping Candyland that is C-Nation. And oh yeah, don't forget to capitalize the N. It's C-Nation. Hello, C-Nation. Please. You know, as our standards for wrestling have gradually declined, sometimes subconsciously, here comes The Rock that's still up here to remind us of what we used to expect. Like I said a few vids ago, there used to seem to be a certain standard in the WWE. You had to have that look, that charisma, that special something about you that made you feel like a celebrity. But these days, there are all these average-looking everyday Joes all over the WWE, and I don't know why they're there. You know, you really think the mainstream's gonna pick up on these guys? The quality of characters just isn't where it used to be. I remember a while ago I was watching Raw, and there was this big, fat, balding guy in Nexus, and I had no idea why he was in the WWE. You know, he looked like your average, run-of-the-mill guy off the street. He looked nothing like a star. He looked nothing like a Rock or a Shawn Michaels. He looked nothing like a pay-per-view star. He looks like your average ham and egger who stands outside the 7-Eleven with a Big Bite in his hands. Your everyday Joe, and I had no idea why he was in the WWE. Remember that period of time where we had Stone Cold, The Rock, DX, The Corporation, and Monday Nitro with NWO all at the same time? See, that was when wrestling was at its best. And I'm glad The Rock is temporarily back to give us some small side-by-side comparisons. The difference between attitude and PG. The difference between greatness and foolishness. And you want to know what the most frustrating thing about all of this is to me? The most frustrating thing about The Rock's return is just how powerfully it shows just how much of a failure the Cena experiment is. After all we've been through, after Cena being shoved down our throats all these years, after all the WWE has sacrificed, The Rock walks in and easily exposes him right away. So then, What was this Super Cena thing all about anyways? Is this all it amounted to? Was it really worth letting this fake Marine steamroll the entire roster, sacrificing everyone, and watching him crush all our favorite wrestlers? For what? For this? The Cena experiment has come with a very high price tag. Think of all the opportunities lost to Cena. There are so many wrestlers with so much potential that I will never know how big they could have gotten because the WWE was so preoccupied with protecting Cena's fragile popularity that he had to crush them. Cena won the title at WrestleMania 21. By that SummerSlam, he was already getting half booed. Anytime Cena fights a real star, like a Shawn Michaels or a Triple H, he gets booed. The only time he gets any kind of significant support is when he's fighting unlikable guys like Khali, or when he's crushing underdeveloped talent. So, all this underdeveloped talent got thrown under the Cena steamroller. Was it worth it? Seeing as how The Rock is easily outclassing Cena right now, was it worth it? Did the WWE just waste our time between WrestleMania 21 and now? I don't see how anyone, Cena lovers included, could call the Cena experiment a rip-roaring success. Because it's not. Now, there have been achievements. You can say there have been achievements. You could say, after the Attitude Era, Cena carried the ball and brought in a whole new generation of young fans who love his merchandise. You can say that. But achievement is not the same thing as success. Given all we've been through, given the current state of the wrestling industry, and the reaction Cena has been getting compared to The Rock recently, I don't see how anyone could call the Cena experiment some kind of bona fide success. But despite the apparent failure of the Cena experiment, and I can't believe I'm saying this, despite The Rock easily exposing Cena, there still seem to be fanboys out there that still want Cena to dominate. If Vince ends up dishing out the big bucks to get The Rock back in the ring, these fanboys seem to want The Rock to lay down for Cena. All under the faulty logic that just because the guy is an active wrestler, just because Cena is an active wrestler, The Rock should lay down for him. Are you insane? Now, this is a topic that I planned for a future video. And I have touched on it in the past when some fanboys seem to expect Ric Flair to lay down for Jay Lethal. But I will say this for now. In my opinion, it is faulty logic. Especially for Cena. What? Has Cena not been put over enough? You want to give him more? What, did he win the lottery or something? You want to give him more? Half boot to hell. And you want to give him more? You want to give him The Rock too? This rapping fool has already brought the industry back to the Stone Age. And looking at the rest of the WrestleMania 27 card just further proves my point. The WWE seemed to be so preoccupied with protecting Cena's fragile popularity that the lack of new megastars is now fully exposed. That's why this card looks so lackluster. Cena versus Miz? Del Rio versus Edge? Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio? This card sounds barely qualified for the Great American Bash, let alone WrestleMania. This card sounds like it's for like a really good episode of Monday Night Raw, doesn't it? And they're having to use it for WrestleMania? But I've got to give credit to the WWE's promotional department for successfully making this WrestleMania feel much bigger than it actually is. I mean, the way they built up this WrestleMania, you almost got the feeling that it was going to be Rock versus Cena, right? But it's not Rock versus Cena. It's merely Cena versus Miz. But the main event is so weak sauce that the WWE seems to be trying to fog it up to make it feel like something else. Think about how embarrassing that must be. Imagine if WrestleMania was Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, but Bret Hart spent the whole build-up arguing with Hulk Hogan. Think about the lack of confidence that represents in the main event. The WWE promotional department has done a really nice job of hiding the weakness that is Miz versus Cena. But back to the original point, in my opinion, the Cena experiment is clearly not a success and clearly needs to end immediately. Change up the gimmick, finally turn him heel, something. You've sold your spinny belts, you sold your Fruity Pebble shirts, it's time to move on. No, the video has not stopped. I'm just holding it like this.